Jets Postgame Live is presented by Audi.
Welcome to Jets Postgame Live, presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealers to get behind the wheel of yours today. Alongside Bart Scott, Willie Colon, Connor Rogers, I'm Steve Gelbs. Listen, we were coming on here preparing for another same old postgame. Jets fall to 0-3, and yes, they still did fall to 0-3, but man, that fourth quarter, I mean, that completely changed the way we were going with this. The Jets, at least they showed some fight there, scoring 21 points in the fourth. Ultimately lose on a field goal, 29-27. Again, the final score in Tampa Bay with the Jets dropping 0-3. Where do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about here, Bart? I mean, the initial thoughts on that fourth quarter, at least. Will McDonald's an unbelievable play. What are your initial thoughts on that fourth quarter specifically?
Well, just trying to be able to get off the field, right? You talk about, you have to have it. Will McDonald makes a tremendous play. Now you have two defenders run into each other and give up a huge run by Baker Mayfield. And I understand Sauce was injured, so now you have backups out there. But just situational football, like the Jets had put themselves in a position where they had to play perfect to be able to win that game. And unfortunately, they just ran out of time and opportunities because of how they played the game for the first three quarters. Right? And, if they would have played the first three quarters like they played the last quarter, then they would have had opportunity maybe to try and steal one. As we saw, upsets galore and looks like field goal. We watched some exciting football all over the NFL the last, quarter, last minute of the game where whether you want to talk about the Rams, you want to talk about the Cleveland Browns, and, of course, the Jets made it exciting with that. They have to be better starting. The pick six is something that we'll come back to. That's a Garrett Wilson problem, not coming back to the football. I understand what he was trying to do by stopping at the first down marker on second down. But understand that you have to come back to the ball because if you don't, the defender's trying to recover. And Dean made a great play. And, that's part of whenever you give up a touchdown on offense, that usually comes back to haunt you on special teams. But that wasn't the case today.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. A lot of things we've been talking about the last 2 weeks kind of reared its ugly head again. The lack of tackling and the penalties. I mean, the first half, it was on both sides. It was crazy to see that many penalties get thrown. But overall, man, it's hard to decipher because if you pay attention to the game, they really only scored one touchdown. It was a bunch of field goals. Defense fought their tail off as much as they could. But what Bart said, it came down to situational football. Even when Burker's early in the second half.
30-29 they gave up, man.
Yeah, but I'm talking about even that one where he juked a couple of guys. Why Baker Mayfield, you're jumping in the air. He's like stop jumping. There's a couple of times we saw guys jump in the air, and it's like, what are you doing? Stay on your feet, make the tackle, and you get off the field, and the defense has a shot.
But we saw that last week with Cook cutting back against everybody over pursuit. Now I understand maybe you over pursue maybe James Cook. He's a dynamic running back. Right. Baker Mayfield, come on, man. Slowski, you getting out. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was weird.
It is a tough one to decipher, right? Because the last quarter, a lot came together. But the reality is when you go into the week and you look at the Bucs, what did the Bucs just do weeks 1 and 2? They won on game-winning drives with no time left. So you have to play well enough to put yourself in a position that they don't have that opportunity. And you could sit here and say, man, the Jets fought, and they did. And the Jets Will McDonald made an unbelievable play. There's nothing to take away from there. But the Jets didn't play well enough to put themselves in a position where Baker Mayfield didn't have the ball with a 2-minute drill situation, and they're not good enough to stop him. Most teams aren't. Like, we've seen this before. So I fully agree with Bart. You can't play like that for 3 quarters, but we did enough in the fourth to win. Unfortunately, you didn't. There's still way too many problems with this team right now.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that's difficult after a game like this is to fully gain perspective on what is actually happening, because it was very exciting at the end of the game. They almost pulled one out in a miraculous way with a tremendous athletic play from Will McDonald. Basically, I mean, he jumps over cars, jumps over linemen as well. But that shouldn't take away from the fact that it's not that they just didn't play well enough in the first 3 quarters. They played very similarly to the same type of football that we've been seeing and criticizing for years now. And I think if you're a Jets fan going into this season, or one of us who's analyzing this team, and you looked at the schedule, nobody would have been surprised if they were 0-3 to start the season.
Correct.
It's not about the wins at this point. It's about how they are playing.
Right.
Are they smarter? Are they more disciplined? Are they
were out
crisper, right?
They were out coached at the beginning. I'm looking at the rush attempts right here. 23 rush attempts, 9 by Hall, 6 by Allen. They were out coached. It took them 3 quarters to figure out, hey, let's replace where they're blitzing. Let's run behind them with crossing shallow routes, right? And then they start having success. They got them with the same blitz, a form of it, like 5 straight times in a row. I'm surprised Tyrod Taylor isn't in the protocol because of how many hits he took. Yeah. Big hits inside of the pocket because they couldn't figure out how to pick up the actual blitz.
That was another point. They never moved his launch point. When you have trouble picking up the blitz, and they did it, I think, early in the
They went to a couple boots.
Yeah, a couple boots.
Which is turn protection.
100%. So when you do that, you change the rhythm of the offense because it was obvious that the Bucs had their number. Like every time they pulled up, it was like, oh, we know what they're going to do. And they were just firing away. So you're right, Bart. I think they got out coached. But on top of that, man, if this team has to get better, it has to get better early, right? Because now you have guys who are 0-3 right now, and it looks like a continuation of last year. So now you're talking about a locker room right now who feel like they're doing everything they can to survive, and they're coming on the other side of this, and the weeks only get longer, games only get bigger, and they're starting to fall behind.
Yeah, and at some point, your best needs to come out on top in a matchup, right? And Sauce lost to Mike Evans a lot today. I mean, that's the reality. And Mike Evans left this game, which ended up being a blessing for the Jets and ultimately got them right back in it, and it ultimately didn't matter at the end of it. So at some point, your best players do need to take over. I thought Quentin Williams was really good today. I thought Garrett Wilson was really good today. I thought the line bounced back in the second half when they looked a little overwhelmed at times in the first half. That safety blitz from Antoine Winfield, they ran it 4 times in the first 3 quarters. He got home on at least 2 of them. Yeah. So that's a big problem.
Big penalty.
And that is a coaching thing eventually, too. So, yeah, there's just a lot of issues, and I think, once again, the run defense, they were playing against 3 backup offensive linemen today, and there was still some explosive runs on there, and they're leaning on McGregor and Clemens to fill that void without Jermaine, and it's just simply not good enough. It's not competitive enough.
Quincy goes down.
Right.
Yep, Quincy goes down with the shoulder.
The lack of takeaways, there's been.
Well, I mean, we were given a great note. The first time in franchise history, if you can believe it, that the Jets have gone 3 straight weeks to start a season with 0 takeaways.
Well, what do you notice in coverage on every pass? They are never looking at the ball. They're always playing through the hands. Everyone. It's not just Stevens, who we pick on a lot. It's all of them. Every single safety, Sauce Gardner, they play through the hands. And that's why you get flagged for DPI. The ref's going to flag you in this league when you play through the hands. Sometimes it works, but you're never going to intercept a pass when you never play the ball. 3 weeks, this secondary. You know how much money they've sunk into this secondary and they don't have an interception?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They paid their top corner, they paid their second corner, they paid their slot corner, and they paid Cisco.
Cisco's not.
Yeah, he's not playing well at all.
Like, he's not showing up at all.
He almost got burnt on that big one.
Yeah, and just understanding route combinations and what teams are trying to do to you. That's why they're reacting, because they can't anticipate what they're getting. Like, you should be jumping stuff, right? You should have whole rat players, playing with your technique, understanding what's coming, right? And the Jets blitzed or tried to blitz just as much as Tampa, but you can clearly see that everybody didn't understand how to execute the blitz. They didn't understand how to, if you got to get underneath, how you widen the holes and the gap for your guys coming. Even when you talk about the 4th and 1 that they had, that's just guys slant. Right. You have to understand what's coming. I thought that was a bad play call, knowing that you're probably going to get a cover 0 blitz as well. It should have been some type of run pass. We watched the Woody boot 1,000 times. We watched it again with the Rams. Walk-in touchdown.
Yep.
I haven't even seen the Jets attempt it.
Right. Yeah. With 2 quarterbacks that move well.
Oh, 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Gives the guy the same thing Josh Allen had, the run-pass option, throw it to the running back. If not, he becomes a threat. The tight end comes. It's just situational football, which is what football usually comes down to. It's how do you perform in the situations? Are you prepared for the situations that occurs? And the Jets, unfortunately, haven't been ready for the situations. They did better this time with the block kick. Then, go to the well twice. I would have tried the same thing. I know they're going to try and put their arms up, but I'm going to give my athlete, the odds of blocking it from the edge are next to 0. I know we watched it happen in Cleveland, but if I just block one like that, I'm going to try and tell my guy to hop again.
Yeah, you almost need a bobbled snap to block it from the edge at this point.
Right. Well, listen, they made it exciting, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. No, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
What I'm saying is,
like week 1.
We were ready
week 1, they should have won. Right. This week would have been a Hail Mary win.
Yeah, you don't let Baker scamper down the field. You get out of there with a green dub.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from the Jets head coach, Aaron Glenn. Also hear from that athletic freak, Will McDonald. after his near game-winning play. Jets fall 29-27.
Jets Postgame Live is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information.
Some crazy swings of emotions in Tampa Bay today if you're a Jets fan, but ultimately it ends with a down emotion. Jets fall 29-27 to the Bucs, 0-3 on the season. Let's head back down to Florida to hear from the Jets head coach Aaron Glenn. It's presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more info.
All right. On the injury front, two guys of note. Quincy had a shoulder. I see exactly how he's going to be when we get back. And Marcelino, hamstring. I think he'll be just fine. When it comes to the game, man, these guys, they fought their ass off. Love every one of those guys for how they came out in the second half. The thing is, we didn't do anything different when it comes to mentality and what we were trying to do. Obviously, the pace had to pick up a little bit when it comes to our offense. There are just small, critical things that we got to get better, and we will do that. We do. But today showed me a lot about who we were as a team and who we're going to be also. So a number of things that we got to correct. And I'm going to say this again, there's no such thing as moral victories when it comes to us. And we're not the same team. We're not the same team at all. And I'm looking forward to our next challenge, which would be against Miami. So we're going to go to work next week, continue to look at those things that we need to fix, and we're going to hone in on that. But I give a lot of credit to the way these guys came out and fought. No quitting any of these guys. But we just have to correct those real small things when it comes to the turnovers, when it comes to listen, this game wasn't won and lost on penalties at all. So I know that's going to be a huge thing. But when you look at the facts, you let me know where we were in penalties before this game. So I'm not even going to use that as an excuse. So we got to get better. I know that, and we will get better. But I like exactly the way our guys fought.
seemed like Tyrod was, getting a little bit more rhythm in the second half. Just kind of what did you see from him in that second half?
That's exactly what he did. I think Tanner did a really good job. We talked at halftime as far as some of the calls that we knew that he liked. We want to make sure we get those in, and we got him in at a more rapid pace. And just like any quarterback, man, once those guys get into a rhythm, man, they start to see the game a lot quicker, and things really slow down for him. And I thought that's what happened to him going the second half. The thing that we have to do is, man, how quickly can we start that process of us being able to move the ball and make those plays? And we have to do a better job of that. And those are one of the things that I was talking about how we got to go to work next week and make sure that we correct those things and making sure we start a little bit faster.
What were kind of the emotions like at the end there? You go from that high of that punt return touchdown and then come right back and score, obviously. But
man, it's always tough. But here's the thing that we also talked about is confidence and belief. And that's why I say these guys are not the same. These guys believe. And we're going to continue to believe. And no matter what the situation is, this is something we talked about going back to training camp. No matter what the situation is, we can always win the game. And those guys showed that. So I was proud of that all the things that we talked about in the offseason when it comes to that, I mean, these guys believed in that, and they showed it.
There was a lot of pressure. You knew they were going to blitz a lot, and there was a lot of pressure. Can you just talk about that and some of the issues that blitz was causing?
That's nothing new from a Todd Bowles defense. That's what they always do, and there's really nothing to really elaborate on. I mean, that's who he is as a defensive coach. He likes the pressure, and when you do that, man, we got to be spot on with how we protect. We also got to be spot on by getting the ball out, too. And I thought we did a better job of that in the second half of being able to do that. So I thought across the board, our players understood exactly what we had to do, and they did a better job of that in the second half. We just got to, again, make sure we do that better in the first half.
Aaron, when you say we're not the same team, you said in your opening statement, what do you mean you're not the same team as what?
Well, we're not the same team as what everyone says, same old Jets. These guys are going to fight no matter what the situation is. There's no give up in them. I hate that term. And I really don't know what that term means, but I know this. They're not the same old Jets. All right, so these guys are fighters. I love these guys. And, listen, we know we have work to do. And I said this before. This is not an instant coffee team. All right, this is a team that's going to continue to keep stacking until we get to where we need to get to where we can consistently win these games. And, again, I like where we're at, but I know we have a lot of work to do.
When Lazard scored, could you just go through the thought process? You kicked the extra point, whereas a two-pointer there would have protected you from them making a field goal.
I mean, hindsight is always something that you guys always talk about, so I wish I would have known that was going to happen. But the thing is, it gave us a chance to go and score a touchdown like we did and get the lead. So I'm not going to go back and just think about what could have, what should have happened. That's what you guys do. I just know this. I know our guys fought their ass off to try to win this game. And I like everything that we did when it comes to decision-making when it comes to this game.
Did you feel like Will was getting close? I know he had the running into the kicker earlier in the game. Did you see that coming?
Well, our special team coordinator, Banjo, does a good job of identifying guys that can go make a play for us. And it just so happened doing scout team, Will wanted to rush the kick, and he was rushing from the edge. And me and Banjo looked at each other like, listen, we might give this guy a chance. And then we did. We had some edge rushes, and then the one critical one where he was able to leap and be able to make a play was one that Banjo did a really good job of calling at that time of need. And listen, playmakers make plays. And that's what this game is all about. I mean, there's a number of things that can go through a game. There's ebb and flows that goes through a game. But at the end of the day, your playmakers got to make plays. And that's what Will did.
A couple more.
With the pass rush of the Jets today, one sack against the patchwork offensive line with walk out and go to key out and works out, is that a little disappointing?
You know what? How many holding calls do they have?
Seven.
I'm not disappointed at that. So when you look at the totality of what happened, I thought those guys did a really good job. The thing that we do have to do a better job of, we had them in our grasp a couple of times, and we just got to finish those plays. So I know for a fact that we can make all these deals of, what could have happened. But the thing is, they forced 7 holding calls And we had a guy in our hands, and that's what I'm disappointed in. We had him, and we didn't finish the play.
Aaron, as a coach, how do you balance? I mean, you stressed the positives about how they didn't quit, you know, but at the other, there's no moral victories, and you are 0-3 right now.
Yeah.
So how do you present that to the team in terms of a balance?
Well, you just said it. We're 0-3. Right. We're 0-3. How many more games do we have left?
14.
That speaks for itself. We have a lot of games to go play, and you can build on this. You can build on this. The one thing I don't do, which I understand that New York media tries to do, is the negative parts of it, but I'm not going to be that way. I'm going to let you guys deal with that. We're going to look at the things that we did well, and we're going to continue to push forward because we're going to improve, and we're going to make sure we get over that hump. I do know that.
Sauce Gardner, you didn't mention him among the injuries.
Well, he came back in. Yeah. Make sure you look at the game.
Tyrod's coming in.
All right, that was Jets head coach Aaron Glenn, and there were a couple of things that I want to get to, but the first one, we were talking about this actually in the moment, so this is not a second guess, not hindsight. The decision to kick the extra point after scoring the touchdown to go down, it was 26-19. You could either kick the extra point, which they did, made it 26-20, or go for 2. Now, if you choose to go for 2, you get it. It's a 26-21 game, and then in order for the Bucs to seal the game, they need to score a touchdown. If they kick a field goal,
it's one possession.
It's a one-possession game. If you go for 1, like the Jets did, all they need is a field goal. Right. So forget about what happened with the Will McDonald, touch and everything like that. What is the correct decision there? Because I think that you could make a very strong argument that you go for 2 there.
I was glad you asked this in the moment because analytically, you should go for 2. And here's my thought process of why in this era you should. Number one, kickers are way too good, combined with the new kickoff rule. So many drives in this league now start at the 35-yard line. If a lot of kickers in this league can make it from 55, 60, some could even make from 65-plus yards, the actual amount of yards you need to be in the field goal range is so minimal, right? So that's very important to keep in mind here. Don't digest it like this is 5 years ago. The second part is you always want to try to keep the game in your own hands as much as you can in one possession because you're going to run out of timeouts, you're going to run out of time, you're going to have to play very differently. So, for instance, in that scenario, if they go for 2 and they get it and it's 26-21, the Bucs, in theory, might be playing a little bit differently. Now, the Jets got an amazing play from Will McDonald, but anybody watching this, how many times in your life have you seen someone on the Jets block a field goal and return it for a touchdown? I mean, we know the answer, right? So in reality, if the Bucs just made that field goal, the game was over. Yep. And 98 times out of 100, they're going to make that chip shot field goal or whatever the odds are.
Right.
So Glenn didn't want to entertain the question in the moment, and there's probably a lot going through his mind, so I'll give him a little grace here of not diving into that. I think when he goes back this week and rewatches the game and gets to that scenario, and hopefully the Jets analytics department brings this up as well, you should be going for 2 every single time.
And a key point is I think the reason that Glenn didn't want to get into it there and the reason that he pushed back was because the question, at least the way he understood it, was about, hey, if you went for 2 that first time, then you get the blocked field goal for the touchdown and go for 2 again, then it would have been a 29-29 game if you make both. That's not what we're talking about. That doesn't matter, right? Yeah. That doesn't matter. What matters is that, as Connor said, if you do it in the moment, you are giving yourself a much better chance to control your own fate. Does it make sense?
That's a lot of ifs.
Yeah, that's what my head is. Like we're playing.
I mean, sometimes you just go by gut, right? And the reality is, I understand what you're saying. Like, Legatron, we don't have a kicker that can do that. Like, we got to get into a certain yard. I don't know really what the range of the Tampa Bay kicker is. I don't know if he's like Legatron or one of these guys, these super legs. But at the end of the day, you say my defense had a chance to stop Baker Mayfield. If somebody makes a sack or makes a play, you got to ask yourself, is it more likely that my defense can make a play? Now, what we've seen this year is no.
And last year.
Right.
They lost to the Colts in the same way.
Well, that's a totally different team, totally different.
It's a lot of the same guys that come up short.
Yeah, but they're thinking, hey, this is our system. This is all new data for them. All the analytics now are going to be programmed with what Aaron Glenn and his regime does, not what happened before, right? It depends on the coordinator. Usually defensive coaches believe in their defense.
I think that's wrong.
They can find a way, especially with Mike Evans out. You're thinking Mike Evans is going, like, we can find a way to double
Mecca Buka.
And then nobody else has got loose.
And then
the first play, double move.
Yeah.
Somebody was wide open.
Yeah.
Baker 15 was wide open.
Yeah.
And then Sterling Shepard, who you expect, like, we thought this dude's career was over. He's revitalized his career down and found a great role with Tampa. So you're saying no Mike Evans, like they're going to be somewhat, aggressive. But if we get them behind the sticks, if we get a holding call, because we had 7 of them, and guys do that, maybe we can get them behind the sticks and force them to a play. And that's probably what was going through his thought process.
Go, Gus.
No, Willie, I want you to comment on this.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of these things that's hard to almost like talk through all these different scenarios. But the point is, worst case scenario, if you go for 2 and you don't get it, is you are down a touchdown. Right, you're down a touchdown, and so the same thing about you're hoping your defense gets a stop. Worst case scenario, you're down 7 and you have to go back and you can tie the game. Best case scenario is that you get the 2 points and then the Bucs have to score a touchdown to win versus have to go 35 yards to kick a field goal to win. That to me is the reason why it's a no-brainer. I don't care how good you think your defense is. It's a no-brainer in my mind to say, hey, worst case scenario, we can tie the game with a touchdown. Best case scenario, we force them to score a touchdown.
It goes back, what was the penalty he got, was it last week? And he went for 2, they didn't get it. It was
the first week.
Right, it was the first week.
Right.
So I think that kind of played a part into that. I think he was like, man, I've been here before. I trust my defense. I'm a defensive-minded coach. Yeah. I know my guys can get home.
No Mike Evans.
There's no Mike Evans. I'm going to lean out my gut. My gut is I'm going to let my dogs go eat and get us out the window.
And the defense had played relatively well. Like, people look at the score. Well, one of those scores is Garrett Wilson and the interception to pick 6.
Right.
So they had held them, and if you can just get a couple penalties or something like that, Quentin can come up and make a play, or Will can make a play.
But like you said, he trusted his D-line. They just didn't finish the plays. They were getting home. The holding penalties show that.
The Baker Mayfield run, 2 guys were in pass coverage, and they fell over each other.
It's an interesting discussion, and I do wonder, because it is the traditional way to go about it, right? And you can make the argument to kick the extra point, but I do wonder if Aaron Glenn, he's learning on the fly right now too. I
don't want to go Peter Strager, but like the analytics versus the gut. We got that in everything, right?
He's a former
player.
There's a sense when he got here, because he came from Detroit and how Detroit plays. Yeah. They're aggressive.
Yes.
They always play to win. So that's why the question is worthy. You're like, man, is he losing his edge in that regard? Because here's a chance if you do go for 2. Yeah. Now the game is in your hands.
Remember, he went for it on 4th down in his own territory and lost 5.
Yeah. We are going to talk about some other things that he said, because I did want to get into other things, but it's an interesting discussion. We're going to take another break.
11 minutes.
We're going to hear from Tyrod Taylor when we come back, and also get into some of the thoughts from the head coach Aaron Glenn, who said we are not the same old Jets.
Jets Postgame Live is brought to you by Selective Insurance. Be uniquely insured.
Jets lose a wild one in Tampa Bay, 29-27. Quarterback making his Jets starting quarterback debut is Tyrod Taylor. Let's head back down to Florida and hear from Tyrod. It's presented by the U.S. Virgin Islands. Visit the U.S. Virgin Islands, where you will fall naturally in rhythm.
What was the difference between the first half and the second half? It looks like you made some good adjustments at halftime with the OC. Can you tell us the tale of the two halves?
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff on the ball in the second half, put a little more stress on the defense. We talked about being aggressive this game. Obviously, first half started off pretty good with 2 scoring drives, but kind of stalled towards the second quarter. But we talked at halftime about sticking true to our game plan, which is still getting back to the aggressiveness. We felt that we had a chance to take advantage of some of the NASCAR, what we call it, on-the-ball stuff, and that's what we got to in the second half.
What happened on that pick six?
Yeah, moved the pocket. I was a little late on that throw. Hindsight, looking back at it, just get down. Anytime you move in the pocket on a route that's that deep down the field, it's probably best to get to the check down. And Dean made a great play, and obviously turnovers hurt you in this league. But we were able to bounce back from it, and I'll learn from it, and we'll be better from it moving forward.
What was your reaction? What were your thoughts when play?
To be honest, I was talking to myself, just repeating the things that AG has said at halftime, which is about belief and confidence. And God works in mysterious ways, and I think that was just the right timing. I mean, he went and made a great play right when we needed him to. And I heard Coach Ian earlier say that when your playmakers need to make plays, that's when we expect them to step up and do so. And Will is one of our playmakers, and he did a great job of doing that.
The Al-Lazard play, did you know he got in the end zone?
Yeah, I thought it was a catch in real time. To be honest, I didn't see. I felt 27 reach in, but I never thought that it was a bobble until I seen it on the jumbotron. But even looking at that play, I still thought he secured it. You could see when 27 punched, he still had it in his hands as he was going to the ground. And as long as the ball doesn't move, I think they made the right call on that. But want to give Allen his credit. He done a great job of adjusting in that play. It wasn't a look that we had practiced, and he done a good job of breaking off once he seen me step up in the pocket and giving me a throw for us to finish that fourth down with a drive, with a touchdown.
Tyler, you've been through so many different situations in the NFL. I'm sure you've been similar to this. You just heard Coach talking about there's a lot to build off of this. How do you balance that as you're building, but you're not winning right now? How do you balance this?
It's tough. It's frustrating. Obviously, as players, you put on your cleats and your helmet, shoulder pads, you strap up day in and day out to put in the work to go out there and win, and you want to see those rewards. By no means are moral victories things that we accept in our locker room, but this is a young team, and we're changing in a good way. And I think that although that was a loss today, that was a lot for us to learn as a team as we continue to keep shifting where this Jets team is going. 0-3 doesn't sit well, but there's a lot of good that we've done up until this point, and we just got to continue to keep chipping away, believing in our DNA and showing up each and every week and putting our best product out. And things will take care of itself. It's still early in the season. I'm proud of the guys in the locker room, the way they stick together. No one has wavered in confidence in one another. No one has wavered in the belief in one another. It's going to change. I know we have the right guys in the locker room to do so.
How are you feeling? You took some really tough hits today. How are you feeling?
Feel good. It's part of the game. Felt good to get it.
Thanks, everyone. Room's open.
Thank y'all. God bless.
All right, that was quarterback Tyrod Taylor, who spoke about the whole game, but also talked specifically about that pick six at the end of the first half. Said to move the pocket a little bit, probably should have just checked down in retrospect rather than make that throw. Overall, though, that play obviously included. What did you think of Tyrod?
I mean, listen, poised, professional, says all the right things. Like, we take for granted a lot of times that quarterbacks are going to go up there and say what they're supposed to say. Mm-hmm. It's like a box of chocolates, right? You never know what you're going to get. But Tyrod, you always know what you're going to get, and that's why they brought him in here to try and be a mentor to Justin Fields. And he took a lot of grace because he could have said, and when they look at it, I'm sure Garrett Wilson, when he's in his meetings, they're going to say, hey, man, you can't stop. I know what you're doing. You're stopping in front of the first down. But even if you catch it and it's 1 yard short, it's second down. We got 2 more downs to get it. What we can't do is allow the DB to continue to come back because you had him on your back bike because you did a great job in pressing the route and breaking it off. And the ball was a little late, and it hung because he was under pressure. But that was a ball that should have been yours or nobody else's, and it cost us big right before the half. It really changed the momentum and allowed Tampa to play a certain way that they didn't have to if we would have been able to continue to stop that score from being on the board.
Yeah, I thought he was tough. I mean, he was sacked 4 times. He took some shots.
Yeah, he did.
For a guy who's 36 years old, who's been around, I thought he held strong and still, like Bart said, kept his composure. But on third down, they struggled, man. They were 3 for 11. You know, it's hard to sustain any type of rhythm or believe in yourself as an offense when you have that type of production. But we have to, I mean, as a Jets offense, they got to figure out who's going to be the number 2 to Garrett Wilson. Because when Garrett is not productive,
huge drop.
Yeah, but even outside the drop, I mean, he was looking around and there was nothing happening for him, right? And so I don't know who that guy is, what moves they got to make, but they know Garrett's the pride horse. And then once Garrett's neutralized, we got nothing.
I thought Tyrod did a lot of good things today. I mean, he gave you 250 yards of offense when you combine the 48 rushing yards. He could still move around a little bit, but that's the exact point, Willie, that I want to hit on. This team does not have a number 2 wide receiver where if you sit there and you're yelling at your TV, why is the quarterback holding the ball and getting hit again? I have a feeling, and maybe this is me, jumping things a little bit here, when you turn on the all-22 and see the overhead, people aren't open. I mean, this is the reality right now. Garrett Wilson's a really good player. I think Mason Taylor is going to be a nice tight end in this league. We're yelling for them to throw to Brees more and more, and it's just something that they don't feature enough in this game. But the bottom line is this was a problem for Justin Fields week 1 when the game was on the line. That second guy can't get open. And you can't really sit here and be surprised. You know what Allen Lazard is. Tyler Johnson has been a number 5, maybe number 4 wide receiver throughout his entire NFL career. It's just at some point, like, this is the roster you came into the season with. It's not fair to the quarterback. It's not really fair to the team. And when teams start shading help to Garrett Wilson, it's not fair to him either. Darren Muji's done some nice things since he got this job. The number 2 wide receiver and number 3 wide receiver situation is a complete failure.
Yeah, and I think you're right. We sit here and we talk all the time about how they're not utilizing Brees enough in the pass game, and they're not using Brees enough in the pass game. But you shouldn't have to rely on your running back to be your second pass-catching option. And that's the bottom line. They just don't have a wide receiver 2 at this point. The game recap is brought to you by Moody's, proud partner of the New York Jets. Garrett Wilson, you see that, 10 receptions, 13 targets, 84 yards and a touchdown. Tyrod Taylor, 26 of 36, 197 yards through the air and 48 yards on the ground. Ultimately, the only numbers that matter, though, Bucs 29, Jets 27. Jets now 0-3 on the season. We're going to hear from Garrett Wilson on the other side. Also, the Jets came so close to winning this game because of a miraculous play from Will McDonald. We'll get his thoughts as well. Jets fall 29-27.
The Green and White Spotlight is presented by Ticketmaster. Get 100% verified tickets to every upcoming game at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Jets and the NFL.
All right, let's take a look at Garrett Wilson's day today. 10 receptions, 13 targets, had himself a touchdown, 84 yards. He is the sole pass-catching option in this offense. Jets going to have to do something about that and do it quick. Let's head back out to Tampa Bay and hear from Garrett Wilson.
Just describe the emotional roller coaster of that last fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Obviously, you feel like you climb a mountain getting back to take a lead, and they had a good offense going back out there. So, we knew what we were up against, having to get that stop, and Will made a hell of a play. You go and react, you go and celebrate it, but, we knew our game wasn't over, so.
Did you think Al scored on that play?
Did I think he scored? Yeah. I was right there looking at it. I thought they would look at it, but once they caught it on the field, I was like, yeah, it's a touchdown. It's going to be hard to overturn.
Garrett, what do you think about what sparked in that fourth quarter?
Honestly, we were playing with a different tempo. You're down 2 or 3 scores, and you got to play accordingly. And with that, I just felt like we were operating pretty well in our 2-minute situation, and guys were executing, guys were making plays. Tyrod was operating. So, and not to mention, man, we didn't play worth a damn in that first quarter, the first half. So what are you going to do about it? You can't go out and put an hour worth of bad film. We had to step it up, man. So there was really no excuse not to look better in that second half once we got that deficit, man, that we shouldn't have been in the first place,
How do you feel having Tyrod in the 50
yeah, man. Yeah, man. That stuff ruminates throughout the whole huddle, man. He's the best way I can put it, man. He's just collected, and no matter what the situation is, he's going to rally the troops, and we're going to know what we're up against and know what we're trying to do. So that was good to be out there with Tyrod, and we've had reps, throughout his tenure here together, and in that first half, I got to be better for him. I got to make some plays for him and keep that pick six from happening. Go attack the ball. Things that will get fixed this week.
Garrett, as a competitor and a leader for this team, how do you balance the fact that you guys showed obviously a lot of fight at the end of this game, but also at the end of the day you're 0-3? So how?
Yeah, there's no balance in it. You're 0-3. It's an uphill battle as far as where we're at, but it's not. With that said, it's still early, and the same thing with that game. All right, Jared, we finished strong, but how do we keep ourselves out of that spot? And back to what I spoke on before, I got a big part in that, and the offensive side of the ball, we're going to fix this. We're going to figure out a way to get rolling fast,
Do you think on that interception you could have been more aggressive?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, I can't do that. I can't give the DB a right to the ball, and that was inexcusable. I gotta help my quarterback out there and make a play.
Well, you heard Garrett Wilson at the end there being asked and taking responsibility for that interception, saying I have to be more aggressive there. That can't happen, and I think that's a good sign. But when I was listening to Garrett Wilson talk there, one of the things that we're always concerned about, you guys talk about it all the time, are the young players, the Garrett Wilsons, the Breece Hall, Sauce Gardners, just coming into the organization with so much hope of it turning and then getting beaten down. Aaron Glenn today in his press conference said, we are not the same team. This is not the same old Jets. What have you seen to believe that that's the case, if anything?
Every coach since I've been working on this show has come in and said the same thing with the same result. The only time where I felt like the Jets weren't the same old Jets, I think I had a jersey on.
I would agree.
That's it. Just keep it real.
Real words.
That wasn't in the working world.
You are what your record and your statistics say you are. So he can say whatever he wants. To him, it's new. To us, it's something we've heard 1,000 times before.
Yeah, the wheels keep spinning.
Yeah, so he has to own that. You ain't the same old Jets, show us the results, because this is a result business. And unfortunately, that's just how it is, and that's what you sign up for, especially in this market.
Yeah, I think he tries to avoid, from the aspect that he listens to the outside noise. Clearly he is, right? And I think anytime you stand up after a hard loss like this, it's starting to get to him. And I think he's trying to say it without saying it. And at the end of the day, you can only stand on that podium and say, hey, man, we got to watch the tape. We're not the same old Jets, because the fans, the people who have been at this desk talking about the Jets for so long, it looks like the same old Jets. And so one of the things that makes them look like the same old Jets is the disciplines, the lack of discipline, the lack of run game, and we don't have a competent quarterback. And so if that's what we was looking at last year, and this is what we're looking at this year, you can't fault the fans for having, or the critics for having an opinion about it. Yeah,
I mean, you get worried about it because, you know, they start to lose the visible frustration, and it starts to just be like, it's another day.
Yep.
That's not a shot at Garrett Wilson's presser. I don't blame Garrett Wilson, but he's not, doesn't feel like he's bottling up those feelings anymore. He's just kind of been through this enough where the shock factor wears off. And I feel like that's happened to Quinnen Williams over the years here. And I don't blame them. Those two guys go out there and they give you 120% week in and week out, and Quinnen Williams and Garrett Wilson, they produce time and time again. But they're not going to sit there in pressers and like you got to show it actually in the win column for it to feel like we're backed against the wall and it's mattering. This is just another year right now, and that's a scary feeling.
And I think one of the biggest challenges of any new regime coming in to coach the Jets specifically is that they want to be given a clean slate.
You don't get it.
And they want to say, hey, just give us some time to turn this around. But the fact of the matter is, it's been a decade and a half, and it's the reality that you're not going to get that same clean slate. And so you cannot be someone that listens to that stuff on the outside. You've just got to figure out a way to get it turned. And the words are not going to mean anything. They're just not going to mean anything until the results are out there. Anyway, you mentioned Quinnen Williams. Let's head back out to Tampa Bay and hear from Quinnen.
Talk about the emotional roller coaster that you guys just went through, you know, down big, able to make a sensational play to take the lead and you know, lose on that last second field goal.
It's kind of all foggy right now. Go watch the film and have the answers for you later. So.
The defense, I mean, without knowing exactly what happened, Quinnen, do you feel like as one of the leaders of the defense, you guys just have to get a stop there at the end of the game?
We definitely do. Definitely got to get a stop. Definitely got to get a stop. Whenever you go up like that, whenever you have the opportunity to close the game and be able to put the team on your back as a defense, we got to get a stop. We got to close the game.
What was kind of going through your head when you saw Will make that play, and then when you guys had to go back out there right after that?
It was a great play. It was coach always preached like reset next play, going back out there just having the mindset on getting a stop so we can win the game and doing everything we can possibly do to win the game. So.
How do you guys build off of this? Because obviously you showed a lot there in the fourth quarter, but didn't get the result you wanted.
Just like we build off every week, man. You got to continue to watch the film, delete the negative things in our game, the small things that helping us lose game. We got to delete those things, man. We got to get it out fast, man, because this season is about to start rolling. It's been rolling, and you don't want to look up and be 0-10. Got to get those things corrected, got to get those things out of our game so we can be able to be the team that we all know we can be. So.
Quinnen, did you feel like you guys, I think you only had 1 or 2 sacks as a defense in the game, but did you feel like you were at Baker's feet a lot, like at his ankles a lot, and he just kind of slipped away?
I got to go watch the film to get an answer, and then I'll definitely let you know.
What kind of problem did he present, though? Because he can do it with the pass and his legs.
Oh, yeah, he broke a lot of sacks. I had one today I should have put him down, and he broke for me, and full accountability that I got to be better in that case. And he's just a competitor, man. He's a dog, and he's a great player, so.
All right, that's Quinnen Williams after a tough Jets loss down in Tampa Bay in Week 3. When we come back, we're going to hear from Will McDonald, made one of the greatest single athletic plays you're ever going to see. Came close to making it a huge come-from-behind win for the Jets. That and more when we come back on Jets Postgame Live.
Jets Postgame Live is brought to you by the official digital transformation partner of the New York Jets, HCL Tech. Supercharging progress.